Hello everyone, this is Dr. Shiva Ayyadurai. I know it's very late, but I'd rather do this video now, and I may do a follow-up tomorrow morning. But I think it's really important to discuss something about the recent events that took place following my extemporaneous talk in an open lobby of the AMC Theater after I was asked last minute that we couldn't have our Q&A session. I'm sure everyone heard the talk. If you look on my Twitter feed, it's right below. But what's more unfortunate is the follow-up that took place, not by the AMC Theater, but by the quote-unquote leaders of the Vax movie themselves. And I think it's an opportunity, and I'm going to bring up what happened. I think it's a really opportune moment to have a really frank discussion about not only what's going on with this movement, but broadly to discuss the larger aspect of political movements and how they get derailed by a few people who think that they own the movement, because that's what this is really about. Yesterday, my assistant got an email. And the email said, "Hey, Dr. Shiva, my name is Bella, and I assume this person is a daughter of the people or the woman who, paid for and funded the Vax movie." And the message goes, "Hey, Dr. Shiva, my name is Bella. I'm the tour manager of the Vaxxed team. I so appreciate you taking the time to come to the Vax screening last night, but I'm going to need to ask you to delete the video. AMC clearly stated that there will be no Q&A after the screening. Also, no congregating in the hallway or handing out flyers. We really need to honor that to protect future screenings of Vaxxed. I know censorship sucks," and it's interesting, it's all in caps, as though this is a joke, "and it's hugely annoying, but we need to honor that decision in order for the screening to be seen. That being said, please delete the video. Please feel free to call me with any further questions. Thanks so much, Bella." And it gets even more interesting because mothers who put this video out were also told to delete the video. For example, here's a woman, Lindsay Benzinger, as you can see. Here it says, "It's been asked for this video to be taken down. All the other potential premieres are at risk of losing their showings because of my speaking." And then Lindsay Benzinger goes on to say, "Side note, I'm bummed that the Q&As have to be held elsewhere and fully support him wanting to speak up." The good thing is there are people who believe that a movement doesn't have the word I in it, that movies are not the thing that drive movements. And this is the problem that's taking place in any movement, because the Hollywood elites and wannabe Hollywood elites who make movies think they're going to control movements. And that's a big, big violation of a fundamental aspect of all political movements, which is that people drive movements, not a handful of people, whatever their intention is, driving around in a bus or living in Hollywood. And Jessica Floyd gets this because listen what she wrote. She goes, "That's a hard nope." And she's a mother with a vaccine-injured child. "Censorship and our freedom is the exact thing we are fighting against, and for boycott AMC and find another theater." So, let me tell you something. You're looking at someone who came as an untouchable from India. I'm a dark-skinned Indian guy, and no one's going to tell me how to speak, when to speak, where I should speak. And for far too long in these political movements, a multi-racial aristocracy of liberal elites think they're going to control movements. And that shit has got to end today. And I'm not taking it anymore, because what's going on in this country is that a few set of people think that they'll control all movements. And let me tell you, because I want to educate you on how movements actually take place from people who've studied them, not people who decide to do movies as a way to, for whatever reason. This is how movements actually take place if you study all political history across time. There are the establishment who think that they want to keep things the way they are, okay? Those people who are reactionaries who want to keep things the way they are. Then there are change agents. Those people on the street, sincere people of all different backgrounds who may not get Botox, who may not have the right lighting, who may not have the opportunity to figure things out, to do dramatic movies, to move emotions. But they're ordinary people, working people in this country and all over the world. Those people have a sincere interest in changing things. Okay, so you have the establishment and change agents. But the most insidious people who destroy movements, who cause continued suffering of people, is not really the establishment. They're easy to figure out. It's the not so obvious establishment. Let me repeat, the not so obvious establishment. And some of these people do it willingly, others because of stupidity, and others because of inexperience. But whatever they are, they're the not so obvious establishment. And who is the not so obvious establishment? The not so obvious establishment are people who do not want movements to take their natural course, to take a revolutionary course, to actually change things in a very short term. They believe that they know better. So they'll promote typically something that drives people where a few people control these movements. And I'll give you an example. Hollywood, the Hollywood establishment is typical of this. It's a bunch of liberal, aristocratic, typically white elites, liberal white elites, from George Clooney and a bunch of people who start their little NGOs. And I've been out in Hollywood for 3 years, and I've seen it all. And these people think that they're going to tell the masses how to do movements, how to fight for vaccine safety, etc. If you look at what's happened in California, California is a disaster. The fight for vaccine safety has been a miserable failure in California. There are people who've been fighting this for 17 years. Well, they failed. Why have they failed? Because they are following the same errors of the establishment masters. Let me give you an example. The establishment likes to, as I've talked before, likes to take complex systems and reduce them to single points. So, for example, they take the climate change issue and reduce it to CO2. They take something like, the vaccine issue and promote vaccines by reducing it to antibodies, a single variable, saying that you must take the efficacy of vaccines is measured by a single variable, antibodies. And a part of what the establishment does, they tell you when to speak and when to shut up and what is science and what isn't. What took place by people telling me and mothers to shut up and delete videos down is censorship. And that is the exact same censorship supposedly they're fighting. But they don't want a guy like me, extemporaneously, without any lighting, without any makeup, speaking my mind. They don't want mothers speaking their mind. They don't want people to be heard. And that's wrong. What's interesting is, about an hour ago, I checked my voicemail, and I get an apology now from Polly Tommy or someone, whoever started this. I don't really care for hierarchies, etc. I grew up in a world of hierarchies in the Indian caste system, and I don't give a damn about it. But Polly, you know what? Your apology is not what the issue is. The issue is you think that you had the right, or your daughter had the right to call me. That is a mistake. This issue is you don't own the movement. There's no I in movement. Maybe in movie there's an I, but not in movements. Movements, everyone has a movie. I had a movie that I gave my talk. Hundreds of thousands of mothers who've been vaccine injured have their movies. And the reality is that no one should be controlling movements. And that is why there has been failure in California, because a finite set of people are telling people who are the activists. Bobby Kennedy, I like you very much, but you know what? There are a lot of other activists beyond the Kennedys, like me and others. Whoever is, doing their nice little videos and documentaries on this, you guys don't own the movement, okay? And I'm not going to take it anymore. And a lot of the mothers here aren't going to take it anymore. They're tired of this stuff. They're tired of being told that everything must be legislative, when to talk, when to protest, when not to protest. That's when movements fail. If you look back at history, any political history, it is when people broke from, for example, the establishment parties at the height. The Vietnam War went on for a long time. But the anti-war movement took off when everyday activists broke with the left wing of the Democratic Party, who always constrained the movement, telling people how to protest, how to demonstrate. In India, there were the British, the establishment, and then there were the people on the street who wanted to kick out the British. Whether you've studied history or not, let me tell you what actually happened. Gandhi was a not so obvious establishment. Sounded good, had some many good things to say, but you know what? He was put in there to ensure that there was really no good revolution, that white men with crowns left and brown men with white hats took over. He was a not so obvious establishment. In 1984, when Walter Mondale ran against Reagan, there was a guy called Jesse Jackson. At the last minute, he gives all of his votes to Walter Mondale and essentially takes this movement of angry people and shoves them back into the Democratic Party. He's a not so obvious establishment. When Bernie Sanders gave all of his votes to Hillary Clinton, he's a not so obvious establishment. And I hate to tell you, Vax 2 guys, you may be nice guys, but you know what? You behave like the not so obvious establishment by trying to censor me, censor moms, and telling people when they should talk and when they can't. You don't own this movement. I don't know you, but you know what? I'm going to teach you something. You're looking at someone who's an untouchable, who came from the Indian caste system, and you better start listening to people like me who want to build a revolutionary movement, and you need to get out of the way and stop thinking liberalism or elitism is going to win it. Keep your movies. I hope you make people aware, but you are colluding with AMC Theaters when you tell people to delete a video. And by the way, AMC Theaters is owned by the Chinese Communist Party. In fact, I say that because the richest guy in China owns all AMC Theaters. If you want to be revolutionary, you should release that film for everyone live. And if you want to do it in theaters, which is what you wanted to do, the goal was to have open discourse. And that's what you should fight for, instead of having the gall to tell me and mothers that you should take it down. And by the way, your current apology is nice, but you know what's too little, too late. You should have thought about it before. It's not apologies we need. We need to unleash a movement to make sure that people are not injured, that people understand what the immune system is. And that's what I was doing when I went there. What needs to be done is not to depress people. It's nice to do dramatic stuff, but you don't want people to walk out gut wrenching like they can't do anything. What we need to do is we need to educate people on the ground. December 2nd, I'm going to start doing that. This should have been done years ago. We should have been educating people on what's really going on and how the science is screwed up. And that's what we're going to do in a very tangible way, so everyday people can actually start understanding and talk to scientists. And you can't single thread. It's not just aluminum. It's not just mercury. You guys were reductionists. That's why you lost. Okay? I hate to say it. California was lost. New York was lost. And we're not going to lose Massachusetts, but we will lose it following the single-threaded model and a few set of people thinking they own this movement. And I don't want to hear anything from anyone anymore calling me up and telling me these people are wrong, those people are right. Shiva, stay away from these people. It's bullshit, okay? We're going to build a broad movement, and we need to unify people because the enemy is very strong, and those people are into censorship. Shame on you. Again, Polly, I got your message, but you know what? You need to really rethink what you're actually doing, because if you really want to educate people, you're doing it the wrong way. You're doing it the way that your masters who you're fighting against are doing it. Put your movie, live stream it, let everyone see it. Do you really need to make money off this movie? Okay? Is that what you need to do? If that's what you need to do, then you're playing your masters, the establishment's game. You tried to censor me. You tried to censor mothers. And you really need to start rethinking this, because it's not going to go anywhere. A movie doesn't make a movement. I'm going to see if anyone has any questions here. I don't see too many questions here. Jen, is there anyone asking any questions if you're out there? But I got to let you know I'm pretty upset, and I don't want to be distracted anymore. I'm a scientist. I work full-time. I work very hard. And I think the mothers here who have a lot of injured people, they deserve better, They deserve to really fight this in the most broad way and let 1,000 flowers bloom. Thank you very much. By the way, I'll probably follow up with something tomorrow. Thank you.